10 things about these 2 chapters. Number 1, Lee is nesting. Lee has moved in and he's bought all the new technology, and most importantly, he's unpacked and made it comfortable and cozy for Lee and for the other 3. But I think this shows that he's no longer living with an eye toward a wife, nor is he living with an eye toward a bookstore in San Francisco. Both of those dreams have been eliminated through time and trial, and so now Lee is comfortable with who he is as a member of the Trask household, and so he is ecstatic with the love he has there, and it's good enough for him. It's not Eden, but it's good. Number 2, Adam is the same way, in the way that Lee nesting is a symbol of hope and contentment, in joy and love and being part of the Trask household. So second, Adam has the same thing, as he's bought a phonograph, he's subscribed to magazines, he is up on the latest technology, and he gets obsessed with the story about ancient meat being preserved in ice, and that gives him a business idea vis-a-vis the ice. And so number 3, he runs into Will Hamilton, and they discuss, can this newfangled technology of ice being a preservative, can it turn into a business opportunity? But a certain specific, unique kind of business opportunity where you don't even really want to make money. Is it just something that can occupy Adam and his curiosity and his imagination, and can it take up his time? And so in a adorable way, now Adam seems to be the new Samuel Hamilton. He has invention, he has a hopeful spirit about the future, he wants to be a part of it, but when that has to be translated to US dollars, he's not all that successful. And so Will Hamilton tries to talk him out of it, and Adam is dead set on doing it, and knows that it's a good idea. And even though he knows he's in spirit, like Sam Hamilton, he knows it's not going to be a fortune creator. He wants to do it. And so, of course, he tries it, and it fails miserably. And we think back to the book of Genesis and the title of this book. In the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve, or the unnamed first created man and woman in the first chapter, are given 2 clear instructions, and that is to fill and subdue the earth. So in the state of perfection, men and women to garden the whole earth, to spread the Garden of Eden to a worldwide phenomenon. What you need is people, and so you fill the earth with babies, and then those people subdue the earth through doing good work, honoring nature, while at the same time using nature for humankind's benefit. And after the fall into sin, east of Eden, the curses mirror the commands. And so after sin, if you want to have babies to fill the earth, there's going to be pain in childbirth. And if you're going to work the earth, all of humankind's work will have an element of futility. No matter what you garden, what you plant, there'll be thorns and thistles, metaphorically, well, and I guess literally. And so east of Eden, you can have the best idea, you can own the ice plant, you can have it all worked out in your head, but you can't overcome train delays and rotten lettuce and whatnot. So that was the 4th thing I was going to say. The 5th thing is now due to Adam's mismanagement of his fortune, almost intentional Sam Hamilton-esque mismanage of his fortune. Now this is a time for Cal and Aaron to learn a lesson. So the 5th thing I was going to say is that Cal and Aaron learn a harsh lesson about life east of Eden, and that is mysteriously everyone's opinion of you seems to suddenly change based on the amount of dollars you do or do not have. So Cal and Aaron have only known one reality, and that is the fact that they are sons of a wealthy father, and then all of a sudden that reality has changed, and all of a sudden people do not like them as much as they used to. In fact, they're even a subject of mockery, and so that's a new thing. East of Eden is people judge you based on the amount of money you have or do not have, not on the content of your character necessarily. Number 6, we get a deep dive in this second chapter. We get a deep dive into the psychology, the feelings of Cal, and it's an interesting little road into the way that he thinks and his personal history. So briefly, his personal history is that as a twin brother, Aaron is just immediately better liked and more readily accepted by people. And so Cal's job is to imitate Aaron, and so he's sort of this knockoff Walmart brand version of Aaron, and so Aaron has the real charm and charisma, and Cal has to just have a fake Aaron-esque charm and charisma, so people automatically are warm toward his brother but are not warm toward him. And so that makes us think of Lee's theory of the Cain and Abel story, Lee's theory of really all human struggle, and that is that people want love, and when they don't get it, when they're rejected, then they lash out, and then when they lash out, they feel guilty, and they get punished, and there's this never-ending cycle, and it's part and parcel, really, to Steinbeck's entire project of the entire novel. And so, while I'm not saying that Cal is the main character of the novel, I think Adam very clearly is the main character of the novel. Cal is perhaps the test case, though, perhaps the main test case for Steinbeck's thesis, and that is the question of what do parenting and biology, what effect do they have on our moral futures? Are they absolute predictors of the people who we are going to be, or can we transcend both of those factors, our DNA and our history and our stories and our parenting? Can we transcend biology, sociology? Can psychology or religion or philosophy or a moral fortitude transcend and overcome? And so that is embodied in the character of Cal. And so when he has a real life experience of Lee's theory, that of rejection, and not only rejection, but in a very Cain and Abel specific way, a rejection while his brother is simultaneously accepted, we really start to anticipate the second half of this novel, as these two brothers seem to be the main focus of the story. Is Cal going to transcend his name, his biology? And so that's the next discussion. And Cal goes home after seeing his mother in a whorehouse, and not only that, in a parade, and not only that, he sees the eyes of the way that men look at his mother and the other women, and they are disgusting, looking at what's disgusting, and he's disgusted. And so Cal goes home, and he goes to his true father figure, who is Lee, and he wants to know the background and the facts and the backstory. And he basically wants to know, is my dad a bad guy? Is my mother a bad person? Who is the situation how I perceive it? And it seems like it pretty much is. And Lee, without being preachy or judgy, but rather just being truthful, basically says that your mother, and this is the seventh thing I was going to say, your mother is an evil person, and evil is mysterious. You can understand stealing when someone needs something. You can understand all sorts of evil when it benefits a person. But then you have this other category of evil, like Kathy, where it doesn't even really benefit them to do the things, to practice the things that they practice. And so evil does have a mysterious character. If it was always just selfishness, then evil would make a ton of sense. But when you see people even going counter to their own good in order to hurt someone else, that doesn't make much sense. And so Lee puts his mother in that category for Cal. And the eighth thing that happens in these two chapters is Cal reacts to all of this information by Lee. Lee, very wise, very truthful, very humanizing in the way that he talks to Cal. And Lee warns him. He says something prophetic, and that is, do not let your DNA and do not let who your parent is, don't let that be a lazy excuse for the rest of your life. If you are a bad person, don't point the finger at Kathy, because you're just as much a son of Adam as you are of Kathy, and you have the choice. So do not go down that road and give your whole life as an excuse and say, I had no choice because I have this kind of evil in me. This gives Cal, this whole conversation with Lee, gives Cal an entirely, shockingly different perspective on his father. Yes, his father is a liar, but he's the kind of a liar that is trying to lie for love. So it's not the right thing to do, but Adam believes that it's the right thing to do. So Cal knows he needs to know the truth, but Adam cannot inflict that level of pain on his kids. And so Cal now sees his father more as pathetic and someone who needs to be protected than someone who is protecting him. And so Cal sees his father in a different light. And so the ninth thing I was going to say is that Cal finds a way to approach his father and is maybe thinking about asking him directly about Kathy, his mother. But instead, he notices a scar, and obviously we've seen marks of Cain all over this novel, and people literally, physically, symbolically wearing the fall on their body. And so Adam has this, and of course, he chooses again to avoid the truth and lie about the source of the scar. And so Cal can now see that his father has not only lied once, but as all lies do, they have a cumulative effect. And so like a dirty snowball, once you start rolling and rolling, it gets bigger and bigger, but you need more and more lies to cover up the original lie. And so Cal sees his father really as more of a sad and pathetic thing. Well, all of this seems to have focused on Cal and Abra being the instigator of some of these thoughts and feelings. And now this second chapter ends and goes back to Aaron. And Aaron has made a shocking, strikingly new plan for life on the possibility, hearing from Abra that his mother is alive. Aaron makes a move that in the course of this novel seems like a retreat from reality and love and relationship to something else. And so the reader can see someone who has been scarred and been through battles and battles in life and has had some experience. You can see someone like that entering into the ministry as a way into helping people, as a way to solving societal ills and coming alongside people as a shepherd to help sheep. But it doesn't seem the case of a young man who has just heard some disturbing news about his own family. That does not seem like the ideal time to decide to go into the ministry. In other words, you can, just like any profession, you can go into the ministry with selfless motives, or you can go with selfish motives. And so Aaron goes into the ministry, and it sure seems, just based on circumstance, that he's avoiding reality rather than going into the ministry to face reality head on and to do good for people. Rather, it seems like a retreat, a running away from things. And so that just seems to be true to me, but my evidence also I would suggest is that both his brother and his whatever she is, girlfriend, fiance, both of them assume that this is just a phase that Aaron is going through. So again, in these two chapters, first thing I was going to say is that Lee making a home seems to be a symbol of his newfound peace with his life. Number two, Adam going into the ice business seems to be a symbol of his newfound hope in life. He's planning for the future. He's got an eye toward the end of that century. He's no longer consumed with his past, but rather he can look forward. Number three, that he has become the new Samuel Hamilton in that he's got great creative ideas, but those great creative ideas do not always lead to dollars. Number four, that this theme of thorns and thistles in work from the book of Genesis plays its way back into the Garden of Eden, no matter to the Salinas Valley being like the Garden of Eden, no matter how great, no matter how wonderful somebody's farm is, somebody's idea is. Some people just cannot make their work for them because that's part of the original curse of life lived east of Eden. The fifth thing I wanted to say was how money affects people's view of Cal and Aaron. The sixth thing I was going to say is the psychological and sociological delving into Cal's past and Cal's present and how that affects his the way that he relates to people and the struggle that it is for him to love. The seventh thing I was going to say is how Kathy's evil doesn't seem to be just mere selfishness as many people's evil does. Number 8 is Lee's advice to Cal not to make an excuse out of who his mother is and how he only was raised with one parent, how he is a free moral agent able to choose right if he wants to. Number 9 was the recurrence of the scar, this time on someone with an A named Adam, and how Adam covers up the scar with a lie. And number 10, Aaron's entrance into seminary, not as a vehicle to help people, but rather to escape the real world. So I hope those 10 points were relatively clear about these 2 chapters, all important as we get to know Cal and Aaron, and Cal now has this first encounter with his mother, this wordless encounter, but at least he's seen her and he's disgusted not so much by her or her job, but the men leering and gawking at her. And so this will play out soon.